What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Figure It Out of the Basement's Black Series talk show. I'm Nate, joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
And today we're finally getting back to the Black Series retrospective. We almost made it, Justin, an entire year.
Yeah, I've been seeing some comments lately asking for us to return to the historical retrospective. So welcome to a long-awaited next episode. For those that are new, these are our historical retrospectives where we're going wave by wave and just talking about what came out, how much they were, what they go for now, if the figures were any good. We covered the orange line, we covered the blue line, we covered 2015's red line, and now we are in 2016. Our most previous episode was also a 2016 red and black box wave that featured our first non-sequel trilogy character in the red and black box with Jango Fett, and we are continuing this trend this episode with 3 new characters that are not from the sequel trilogy, which is like crazy for red and black box times.
Right. Before we get into it, though, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars, the Black Series, here on the channel. Justin, we're back in the Dark Ages, brother. Get your torches out because it's medieval times up in here.
Yep. Red and black box, wave number 6. There are 3 new characters in this wave and 2 carryovers. Because if you guys remember, this was the era of endless refreshes and carryovers, which is a big contributing factor to why there was so much peg warming in this era. So in wave 6 of the red and black box, because remember they restarted the wave numbers once they transitioned to red and black box, we have 2 carryovers this time, and they were number 16, the First Order Flame Trooper, and number 18, Han Solo.
Because those were so hard to get when they were released the first time.
Very true, Nate. Nate, let me know the other figures in this wave, bro.
Yeah, so we do have some goodies here, finally. We have number 19, Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels. We also have number 20, Ahsoka Tano, also from Star Wars Rebels.
Hey!
And then we've got number 21, which is Luke Skywalker. Farm boy.
This is the toilet paper Luke. Whenever you hear the phrase toilet paper Luke, this is who we're referring to. Of course, Landspeeder Luke's arch nemesis right here. Horrible figure, but
unbelievable.
Yep, we usually go through these one by one and talk about if they were any good. So yeah, Kanan Jarrus, of course these were retailing for $19.99. He's currently worth $24.86. Honestly, I always thought this was a good figure.
Yeah, I thought they did a decent job with Kanan. It always helped too, being that he was an animated character, so having a little, soft likeness, it worked for Kanan because there was no real actor to do his likeness. So like the non-photoreal face painting at the time, I always want to say printing,
right?
Back then we were still doing painting on the faces.
Right, this was still a year before photoreal. Photoreal came out in 2017. So yeah, all of these waves are going to be non-photoreal.
Yeah.
But you are right, it's an animated character, so it kind of got a pass.
Right. And they took extra steps to, include cool details like his lightsaber does disassemble.
True.
And you can accurately clip it to his belt in the little separate spots.
Yeah.
So I always thought Kanan was a pretty decent figure. Obviously, these days would need a massive update.
Yep. You also get his blaster, which was
true,
kind of cool. And it was just, again, it was nice to get a non-sequel trilogy character. And I don't mean that in let's dump on the sequel trilogy way. I mean that in they were really going crazy with sequel trilogy and just new Disney era media. I know Rebels is Disney era, but at the time, anything that wasn't from the new movies was a godsend. And you'll see next episode of this is the Rogue One era. It's like we go right back into the trenches. This was like it was the calm before the Black Series shitstorm.
Yeah. The Rogue One era That's going to be a legendary discussion for the retrospective, because that was such a crazy time.
Yep. And he still has a value above retail, which is kind of crazy. If you guys have been following along, most of these, I want to say the first half of Red and Black Box are like $10 to $15.
Yeah.
This one attained some value.
Right.
So, I mean, it did end up getting a photoreal re-release in Galaxy packaging, along with tons of other Rebels characters, which that one's good. Mm-hmm. I use that as my Kanan. Of course, we are getting a new blind Kanan from Season 4, so
finally.
That'll be nice to get. And hopefully, you know, we get the butterfly joints and everything. But yeah, I agree. I always thought this was an actual solid figure for the time.
And, you know, I will honestly say the same thing for Ahsoka Tano.
Ooh.
She does have some issues standing up. She's got those little tiny baby feet.
Facts.
But at the time, they did a pretty nice job on the face.
Mm-hmm.
Her Leku also looked really good. Mm-hmm. And she was a lightsaber wielding character that you could actually do some decent posing with.
True.
And the clear lightsabers, it was something new, different. We hadn't gotten that yet in the Black Series, so it was kind of crazy. I remember thinking that them starting with Rebels Ahsoka was crazy. I always assumed we would have started with, you know, Clone Wars era Ahsoka.
I guess because it's Disney,
right?
So they got to do their version.
Obviously, now looking back, of course, it makes sense that they would do the Rebels version. But again, this was another figure I thought looked solid. I didn't buy the photoreal update when it came out.
Me neither, actually.
So she's always just been on my shelf as the old painted face version.
She does have issues standing up for me, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she is worth $15.17.
Yeah, well, she's got a photoreal update, so, you
right.
know. Of course, the non-photoreal one will take a little bit of a dive.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about an absolute blunder and talk about Luke Skywalker, farm boy, tissue paper, toilet paper. Horrible face. Like, one of the worst faces, head sculpts in the entire line.
Yeah, this one was crazy bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even back then, crazy bad. We were all looking at that face like, what happened?
Right.
Literally, what happened? It doesn't look anything like Mark. It doesn't look anything like Luke Skywalker. It just kind of looks like the most random, weird, generic, like, action figure head sculpt.
Absolutely. I mean, it's terrible in every way. The soft goods are severely oversized.
They're so big.
I'll give this figure one positive. This was released in an era when Hasbro would give figures double joints if they wore soft goods.
Okay,
so like
true.
Zuckuss has double jointed arms because they're covered by soft goods. It was just this weird. It was another one of those weird Black Series rules.
Yeah.
They were like, we can only do double jointed pinned arms if you can't see them.
Right.
Which I think is true. Like, let us know in the comments if you could think of any flesh tone or like visible skin of a double jointed arm that you can actually see the pins. Not counting legs. Mm-hmm. I know they've always had visible pins, but for arms, let us know. So that is one positive. He does have double jointed arms, which is nice. But overall, this figure's terrible.
Yeah, totally bad. And I would not pay $14.90 for this thing. You couldn't give it to me these days.
All right. Luckily, we do have a brand new version of this character. It got a 100% new, sculpt, which also has its issues, but at least it has the hard plastic. This figure in particular did get a Power of the Force retro card re-release that had a photoreal update, but it was still bad. So don't even go for that one, honestly.
No.
Now, because there were 6 mainline waves in 2016, there were 11 exclusives, no vehicles. No centerpieces, no vehicles. We're not there yet for Red and Black Box. That'll be for 2017. But there were 11 exclusives, so we'll kind of cover 2 exclusives a video going forward for 2016. So the first one we'll talk about is C-3PO, which was a Walgreens exclusive. Remember Walgreens, Nate?
I miss it. I miss going to 800 pharmacies to hopefully find the one random ass figure
Facts.
I'm looking for. I miss it.
We don't miss it. Thank goodness they stopped doing Walgreens exclusives, especially C-3PO. I mean,
Right.
he was very easy to find, but just making one of the mains an exclusive is
Yeah.
odd.
Because it also was a main look too. It's not like it was red arm C-3PO.
Right, this is silver leg.
This was gold silver leg C-3PO, like the iconic version of 3PO that most people imagine in their head.
Yeah, it's an OT version.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, Walgreens exclusive.
The sculpt, he can't really move his arms.
No, he didn't actually even have elbow articulation
Right.
back then.
Yeah, he will eventually, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, not yet.
His color is super matte as well, when he should be at least a little reflective, a little glossy,
Yeah,
but there's no reflectiveness.
right.
No reflection at all on that figure. It's just a matte gold.
Yep. I mean, I will say at the time, though, I remember we were both very excited about this figure. And it was great back then to just have an OT
Right.
C-3PO. There really wasn't a whole lot of options to get an OT C-3PO.
Right.
So,
An R2-D2 Black Series was in Orange Line.
Yeah.
So it had been years.
right. So, despite nowadays, and even back then, you know, you could look at it and tell it's not the best. We were just so happy to finally have 3PO, finally have OT C-3PO. So, despite its issues, you know,
I still have him in the display.
he's still in mine too.
Yeah. It's aight, but find God and buy the SH Figure Arts, in all honesty.
Justin, we did also have an absolute banger of an Entertainment Earth exclusive. Remember Entertainment Earth exclusives? We're getting into those too. Those are
Yeah.
going to start coming up here soon
True.
enough. But this is the Order 66 Clone Trooper 4-pack from
Goated.
Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Goated back then, goated now, still a worthy item to have in the collection and to have those figures on display. It's like we always say, yes, they are the terrible 2013 bodies articulation wise, but look at them. They still look good.
They are objectively horrible toys
Yes.
as far as articulation, like you said.
yes.
But it's also objectively true that this is the closest we have ever been to a theatrical style clone trooper in the Black Series. They have not been able to replicate this with the 2020 sculpt or the 2023.
Right.
There was painted weathering on these figures that didn't look like crap. I honestly think at the time this was like one of my favorite things in the collection. This was just
Oh.
the coolest thing ever. You get
Easy.
a 501st trooper, you get a 212th trooper, so that's kind of like your Revenge of the Sith duo there. Same thing with Coruscant Guard, the Shock Trooper, but you also get kind of the least interesting one, which is the 442nd Siege Battalion, which is a made-up Legion by Hasbro. Kind of a common trend with like a lot of those 3 3/4 sets.
Right.
They all just visually, again, we are just talking aesthetics, proportions, visuals,
Right.
nearly perfect on
Yeah.
a visual standpoint, honestly.
Right. They do still look good. I still have all 4 of them on display in the clone collection because they hold up. And back then, it was $100. Nowadays, you can get this set for around $134.10. But Justin, what made it even sweeter back in the day, bro, was when this set was peg warming, by the way.
Yeah,
Crazy.
peg warmer, digital peg warmer set.
Digital peg warmer. It released and made it all the way to Black Friday, where you and I were able to purchase this set for $39.99.
We should have bought two.
We should have bought 2. We both only bought 1.
Yep.
And looking back, I'm just like,
We were making minimum wage. This was back in the
True.
glory days,
Yeah.
the movie theater minimum wage days.
right.
Because nowadays it's like, oh, like,
Yeah.
put it on the card, let's go. That's nothing. But back then, it was a lot of money to us to spend, $80 on figure. Like, I get it, why we didn't do it, but we should have. Because now I still only have one of those 212.
Yep.
And one of the Coruscant Guard. Obviously, the blue 501st got an archive release. And I know Zach, Black Series Cantina, really took advantage of that.
Yep.
But I still just think this was an excellent set. The weathering was great. The visual look was great. The articulation was horrible. But I still think this was just a really cool package and design. And like the box like folded out and it's like 4 separate boxes, but it also is like in one big box. It's a cool piece. We saw this at ICC Con last year. So we'll probably see it again this year for anyone who doesn't have it. And I know on Amazon it'll say like $435, but the value we're going off of is sold eBay listings from actionfigure411.com that take an average of eBay sold listings, not just listings, sold listings. So it's a pretty reliable source. It's definitely not worth $400 something.
Yeah, I would not pay that much for this, but $135?
If you really like clones, that kind of highlights maybe a generational surplus that we have now, because if this were to come out today, imagine 501st, 212th, 442nd Siege Battalion, and the Coruscant Guard on the 2023 buck 4-pack for $100. I can't imagine that sticking around. So it's like, now we have like more prequel fans and more Clone Wars fans in the hobby. So it's kind of interesting that this was a straight up digital peg warmer.
Yep.
But it's also a very cool piece.
Absolutely. So that'll do it for us on this week's return to the retrospective. We hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, once again, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. If you're in a position to help support us directly, we do also offer a couple different channel membership tiers. Check those out down in the description below. And while you're there, make sure you join our Discord.
Do it.
That one is totally free. You just got to make an account, and it's a great way to get connected with us and other like-minded members of the community. As always, we got to give a huge shout out and a special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated. And thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate. I've been joined with Justin.
See you guys later.
And we will see you all next time on Out of the Basement.